Okay.
Wow, world of water. I'm Mark Miller. We're here today to tell you the story of safer, cleaner water, the world of water, where we're able to help everyone that desires to have pure water for the rest of their life. No matter what happens, you never have to be concerned about it for you, for your family, for as many as 300 others every day, for each one that decides and makes that decision to have pure water for life. Just a little background about me and my story, and then the story of how safer, cleaner water came about. We were, I was actually raised in a parsonage. My dad was a pastor at a little town of 300 in Indiana, and I was the middle child. I have 10 siblings, and we had, with that larger family, we had, of course, well water and different things, and had challenges with that. And beside pastoring, my dad did some things related to helping people that needed remodeling or a problem with their well and all those things. So since I was 5 years old, I had activity of some sort, just being around dad and being around the thing that he did. Then there was one thing that happened very early in my life that is different, and it started the process of me, something that I always remembered and had a basis point. Bottom line, one day on a Sunday afternoon, I went to my dad again, who was the pastor of the church, and I said, Dad, I'm supposed to preach tonight. And of course, as a 4 year old, it took maybe a little persistence, but finally he said, okay. So he planned to preach after I did, if that's what came about. So we went to church, and he said, we're going to have something different this evening. Mark's going to preach. He put a chair behind the pulpit. I climbed up on the chair and I preached for 19 minutes on the Ten Commandments. When I got done, Dad said, well, I was going to preach after this, but I think this is what was supposed to happen tonight. And that was years ago, but people that were there remembered it. And that was something that I never forgot as a child. Then, when I was around 14 years of age, I became established spiritually. And then when I was 16, I graduated from high school and went to college when I turned 17. But when I was 16 years of age, I had a very strong impression that came to me one day. It was just so clear that I never forgot it, that I would someday in my future, I would do something and have something that would change a lot of lives and make a difference in the world in a major way. Naturally, as a 16-year-old child or kid or teenager, that doesn't mean the same then as that didn't mean a lot then, in other words, as far as clarity, but it was a foundation of understanding. Everything you do is preparing you for the next step. And through the years, there was many things that I did. I pastored a couple churches. I was on the board of directors of a nonprofit entity for 33 years. I had businesses. I worked for different places. I managed businesses as well. But there was always that feeling that whenever I did something, I was doing it because it would prepare me for what my final position and calling would be. And I never looked back. I would always say, okay, I need to learn this to be ready for the next step. And then the next thing would happen. The next thing would happen. Some things I would say, well, I need to do this, need to learn this, whether I want to or not. It wasn't exciting on some of those type things that are technical, etc. But as I went through life, I look back now and I recognize that every one of those things that happened was a stepping stone to be able to take the next step to do what needs to be done to prepare. And as I look back now, it's very clear in that way as well. So that's what happened with coming to a certain point. But where everything started, about 5 years ago, I felt a very strong impression that I was supposed to form a nonprofit entity, 501(c)(3) nonprofit entity. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But then 3 years ago is where the actual action for safer, cleaner water began to develop and mature and process. I was in a missionary service in a little church here in Indiana, and there was a missionary from Central America, and they were there talking about the number one reason why children die in these foreign countries is because of lack of pure water. I was listening to that, and then they were talking about how they would go into those villages, and they had a system that they could show them how to have pure water where their children did not have those challenges anymore. And then they would talk to them about the water of life, the bread of life, and Jesus, and the spiritual side of things as well. But first of all, taking care of their physical need, that was a major challenge for them. And I thought about that, and that's also, as we all know, what many do in ministry and otherwise, and what Jesus did. For example, he served the people with the needs that they have, and they had, and then they were open to listen about what he shared about the things related to miracles and related to all of the things with you, the Beatitudes, etc. And because of that, as I was sitting there listening to that missionary speak, I listened well. My mind began to go, there's something to this. There's over 300 million people in the United States. And if there was a major challenge and the electric was off for 5 to 7 days, how many of those people, how many of those 300 plus million people would survive? And if they did, how well would they be able to do without pure water? Then I began to look at and research it more and realized nobody was doing anything specifically designed to take care of things in that time of need. Uh, some would say, well, y'all, there's all kinds of water filtration systems. That's true. But very few of them have everything that it takes to be in position to take care of what you need in an emergency. And of course, you can use it every day as well. But that is the most important part of what I was thinking about. So as I began to look, that I would find this filtration system does one thing, and this one does another, and this one doesn't do that, etc. Back and forth for a while, and someone said, "Why don't you create a comparison chart?" So I sat down this one day and just started putting them all down together. And all at once, I just stopped and I said, "Why would I want to confuse everybody? Instead of trying to say what this one does or this one doesn't do, why don't I just tell them what we have, what it does that the others do not do? Let's just do that." So the next thought that came to me is an example. Why do people sell you a printer? So you have to buy ink from them the rest of your life. Why do many of the water filtration systems sell you a water filtration system? So you'll have to buy a filter the rest of your life, hopefully from them. Well, that doesn't work in the time of what we just described. So I began to look and I found something there's actually three things that you need that is very necessary that most of them do not do in the way that these do, this filtration system does. Safer, cleaner water is designed to, number one, you can purchase a filter and it's a one-time purpose. It's a one-time purchase. You never have to purchase one again. And that filter that you purchase for that one time has a lifetime guarantee from the manufacturer that's been in business for 40 plus years. And over 1 million of those are around the world, with over 28 million people having pure water every day because of this filtration type filtration system. Number two, they can guarantee it for life because it's designed where you never have to buy another filter, because you can actually backwash the filter with the pure water it creates. So for an example, it never starts making water and the water not pure, where it's still not pure. It's always pure. Everything that comes through that filter is pure. But whenever it's a gravity flow, so whenever it starts slowing down a little bit as far as the flow, then you take the filter, take some of the pure water that you created with it, backwash it, turn it around, backwash it with the pure water, and now you can use it again and again and again, over and over. So again, number one, a lifetime filter. You never have to buy another. Number two, you never have to buy a filter because it can backwash. Number three, most filtration systems that are designed for emergency do not filter a very large volume of water per day. So what this does, it does up to 150 gallons of water per day. That means that for each person that normally needs at least a half gallon of water per day to have the proper amount of water they need, this can take care of up to 300 people per day, every day, with no electricity, No matter what happens, you can go to any type stream or any type source of water except salt water, and it takes it and purifies it 99.9% with everything taken out that would make you sick, with the bacteria, parasites, all of those type things, and takes out 100% of the microplastics as well. So now what it's designed to do is to take out everything that would make you sick, to where any time you can know that you can have pure water no matter what the situation. You talk about something that makes somebody say, well, that really feels better. I'm glad to know that. But then the other thing is you have to understand that to know it enough to take action, not just say, I know it's a good idea, but are you going to do something about it? And of course, that's not something we can make you do. But when you realize you can only survive about 3 minutes without air, we can't help you with that. You can only survive well for about 3 days without water. And then, of course, for 30 days without food. But if you don't take care of getting the water situation taken care of, you're not going to get to the food. That is, so what we have is one of the most important things. One other thing that happened as I was developing this, I would ask someone, what would you do if the electric went out? There wasn't any way to draw water out of your faucet, or no way to get water. What would you do? And the common answer was a little surprising to me. Well, I'll just go to the supermarket. I'd try to be the first one there and try to get all I could. And I didn't think that was a great answer, but that I heard it more than once. So one day I drove from where I live, the place where the town where the supermarket is about 20 minutes from where I live. So I had an appointment that day in that town. I wanted to go to the supermarket before I went to my appointment. When I got into the town, the stoplights were out, the electricity was out in the town. I pulled up in front of the supermarket. Naturally, there was no lights there, but there was one thing different that was on the door that made me say, there's more to this than trying to be the first one there. On the door, it said closed due to power outage. So how many people would be able to get any water? They're not open. They can't take your money, and there would not be any to do anything to do that. So that's not a good answer. So with that said, we began to put together the way for you to be able to have this and to have that pure water for life. And it's designed to where you actually receive not only the filter, but the kit that goes with it, the adapter kit that goes to a container, a 5-gallon container, and in the United States, the 48 contiguous states, shipping included to your door. So within 7 to 14 days from the time of your decision, you're going to have pure water with delivered to your front door, the ability to have it from that point on. And within 5 to 10 minutes from the time you receive it, you're ready to have pure water for the rest of your life. So that's what we have in that regard, and that's where we came to. There's also other reasons. For example, it's not as insurance, but it's like an assurance that you are going to be able to have something, and it's so minimal in cost. With Safer Cleaner Water, it's $149, and everything included, including shipping, as I just described. And what we say is, there's 4 words that some people are going to have to say that they never should have to, and we don't want you to have to either. Those 4 words are, I wish I had. Why would you need to do that or want to do that if you could do this for $149 and be able to have that and take care of you, your family, and up to 300 others at the same time? There's another part to this also that's very important. It's good and takes care of a lot of the ecosystem. Just if you think about it, if you use this system, just 2 people, to use this system every day to create their pure water to drink, that would be like 920 plastic bottles times 2, that would be taken out of having to having to go buy bottled water. Actually, it's actually more than that. It's 1,460 times 2, which so that means over 2,900 bottles that would be there over the course of the year. And that would just at a very minimal low cost. And bottled water is very expensive, well, usually. But even if it's like 32 cents, that would save you over $900 a year just for 2 people. And again, all the other water you need with 150 gallons as well to help others or use it for other needs as well. So The ecosystem is something as well that makes a difference, where we don't have all these plastic bottles going into the system, and you have that don't have to drink out of those plastic bottles that also aren't very good. And especially when with what we have, it takes out 100% of the microplastics, so you don't have to worry about that. So that's the other part. And then the last thing is, what we wanted to do is not only help for you to be able to be served and have what you need, but we also wanted to make it where we could help others. And what we realized with we decided with our nonprofit 501(c)(3) that we would begin to raise funds in our nonprofit, and our primary focus is to help those that are the homeless, like the homeless shelters, those that are going to have the greatest need in the time when there's a water challenge or no electricity, are those that are already having to be served for every other thing, like food, like clothing, shelter. But they also need water. But most homeless shelters have not prepared for that. In fact, just a few weeks ago, I talked to a lady that was elderly. She's actually said that she was older than me and was really proud of it, which I thought that was funny. But she said, I've been around and helped shelters, worked with shelters all my life. I've heard him talk about I've heard him talk about food and how to bring them to shelter, etc. But in all of the years that I worked with homeless shelters, I've never heard one talk about they're having preparation to serve those that they serve with water. And that set in with me with a stronger sense as well. So that's what we're doing with our nonprofit. The the nonprofit is structured in a little different way. For every $100 that someone donates to our nonprofit entity, someone can be served with pure water for the rest of their life. So what we realize is not only homeless shelters, but how much do you care about those that you love, those that you care for? Don't you think it would be good for them as well? So we have it set up where there's a very simple way for you to help as many as you want to, whether it's you or whether you ask us to do it. Here's the way it works. For every, say, for example, you had 5 people that you really would like to have the pure water system. All you have to do, for every $100 you donate, you tell us where you want us to ship it. We'll ship it and ship it to them and take care of everything else. And you'll also receive a tax benefit as well for all of those that you would serve in that way or contribute in that way, except one that you would desire. You would also receive it for the $100, but not receive a tax advantage in that way. But there's also those that above and beyond that, where you would say, I want to help the cause of helping those homeless shelters and others that we serve. So now you can actually contribute to our uagrant.com is the website, and for every $100, it happens and to do exactly what I just said, as far as the way it can help you, those that you care about, and also those that are in the homeless shelters, etc. And then there's one last thing related to the nonprofit entity. That is our focus with the U.S. But one thing that we found in the last 2 months, there's been one after another of those that live in other countries that are having the issue. They don't know about this system. They don't know that they can have this. There's still, I researched 3 different nations last week, and all of them were like 30 to 50% of the people, especially in the rural areas, do not have a way to have pure water. And those children that are dying and all that is still there. And we found a way to help those as well. And that we're having people contacting us that, can you help us? And the answer is yes, we can help you show everyone you desire in your country to have pure water as well. That's what we have, and that's what we do. And that's our desire, is to change the world with giving pure water, with the water for everybody, world of water, where you always can have pure water for you, for those you love, those you care about, no matter what comes or what happens. Safercleanerwater.com is a place where you can go to actually purchase a system. Or again, if you want to go to uagrant.com, you can go there and do what we described of helping yourself and others as well, and also those that are in homeless shelters, etc. And also helping us where we can actually spread the good news around the world and make everybody say, wow, world of water.